For the Fun with Filters, you are going to need to go to Poland, SFM, open My Folder, and go into Pickup. Here is the file that you're going to need, period, last name Fun with Filters. It's a Photoshop file, so if you double click on it, it's automatically going to open in Photoshop. And this is the file you get. First thing that I would like for you to do is go to File, Save As. And remember that you have to navigate to your folder in Schools in order to save it. So you'll change this to whatever your period number is, underscore, your last name, and then keep Fun with Filters. Over here on the side, you'll find Cougar 11, Schools, etc., and you know how to find your folder. I'm saving mine to my desktop because I do not have a folder in Schools. So there we go. I'm going to click Save. Now it's saved, and at the end of the class period, you don't have to worry about finding your folder because you've already done it. Now, if you look here in your Layers panel, I have a background layer. I have a layer here that says Grid, delete when finished. That's these boxes, and you will delete this layer when it's finished so that it doesn't show. And then you have a folder that says Filter Labels. And when I click on that little arrow or triangle, it expands the folder and you see Filter Name 1 through Filter Name 12. And that's here, Filter Name 1 through Filter Name 12. And all you have to do to change the name of these is to double click on the T, and you can see that it's highlighted and you're able to name it. The second thing you're going to need is a photograph of yourself. This photograph of yourself can be something that you took during the scavenger hunt at the beginning of the year. If you have a good close-up photo of yourself, then that's going to be okay for you to use. If you don't have a good close-up of yourself, then grab a partner and you can take each other's photos. You want from the shoulders up. And I have a photo here on the desktop that I'll use for me. So what you'll need to do now is you will go to File and Place. And then you're going to have to navigate to where the file is that you want to use, select it, and click Place. Now when it shows up, it's got this red, or not red, but X through it, and it's blurry. It's okay. As we fix it, it's going to go away. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move it into this first box. Whoops. And I'm going to click on this link so that I can maintain the aspect ratio. You can also hold the Shift key down if that's what you prefer. But make sure that you do one or the other because you don't want to drag yourself out of proportion and make yourself thinner or fatter than what you really are. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then I can drag the corner and I can make this just big enough to fit in the square and still see the filter name there. And then I can double click to apply it. I'm going to center it more or less in the middle of that box. It doesn't have to be exact, but approximately. Then I am going to do something to the layer first to make this able to use for the filters. So in order to make this okay to use with filters, we have to rasterize this layer. And you can see this little icon here. It's showing that it's a smart object. We just want it to be a regular layer. So I'm going to hold down the Control key and click on it, and I am going to choose Rasterize Layer. And now you can see that that little smart object is gone. Okay. Now there's the easiest way to duplicate this is to drag this to the new layer icon. You see it made a duplicate copy. Now, in order to move this, we're going to use the Move tool. And if you click on Auto Select, see up here, check that, and change Group to Layer, then whichever photo you click on, it's going to automatically select that layer. I'll duplicate this one more time. and move it over and get it in the center, and now we've got the first row done. So what I can do to make this go a little faster is I'll select all three of them. And I can do that by holding down my Shift key. I click on the first, Shift, click on the third. Then I can drag that to the layers or the new layer icon. And now I have three more I can move down. And I can use the arrows on my keyboard to fine tune it. Now I can select all 6 of those, drag it to the new layer icon, and I have my last 2 layers, or sorry, 2 rows. All right, so now that I have all of these done, you can see that when I click on one, you can see how the layers change so that it shows you which layer you're on, and that's because of this auto select. So now what I'm going to do is zoom in. I'm going to use my Command plus to do that so that I can see the top row of pictures. And I'm going to go ahead and start with this top left. And the filters are up here under the filter menu. So what I want to do is I want to pick one of these filters, and they're categorized into different ways, and so you can pick. You're going to do 12 different ones, and notice that you've got a whole lot more than 12 here. So what I'd like you to do is try to pick one from different sections. There's some that you're not gonna do, like this one for video. Obviously you guys aren't doing video, and you're probably not gonna do other or the Digimark. Also, because we're in an older version of Photoshop, you're not going to do the browse filters online. You're only going to use the ones that are in here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start off, and I'm going to use artistic and watercolor. And it pops up in a new window, and it shows what it's going to look like. Now, here in this middle section, you can actually see all of the different filters that are under the artistic category. It's already been expanded, and so you could actually go through and look at those, and then if you decided you didn't like any of those, you have different categories to look at. I'm going to go ahead and stick with watercolor though, and then this third category allows you to fine tune it. So you could change the brush detail, and you can notice the subtle changes there, the shadow intensity, as well as the texture. And once you find something that you like, you click OK and apply it. Then, before you forget what the filter is, you go to the filter labels and double click on the T to change filter name 1 to watercolor. And that way you know what it is. Now, when I do this second one here, I want you to know that you can obviously apply a filter to an entire photo, but you can also apply a filter to part of a photo. You could use the lasso tool and lasso out you. You could even do an inverse and apply a filter to the background instead of you, or you could just use some creative method. And I could do with my polygonal lasso, I could do a zigzag through the center of this photo and come around here, and now I have this selected, okay, and now I can come up to filter and I could choose I think I'll try, actually let me go to texture, and I'm going to try mosaic tiles, and there I'll put in, yeah, mosaic tiles, that's what I'll do. And here you can adjust the tile size, the grout width, as well as whether you want to lighten or darken the grout. And once you find what you want, then you can click OK and you can deselect. So what I would like you to do is, whoops, and let me go ahead and see, this is why you have to remember to put in the filter name, because I already forgot what it was that I was doing. There, now I can put in mosaic tiles. And what I want you to do is to go through all 12. Again, you get to choose what filters you apply. Just make sure that you put the name of it here so that you remember what it is. When you're done, you will delete, okay? And remember that you'll have to unlock it to delete it. But here's the trash can, and that's to make sure that all of the black lines disappear. And this particular one, obviously you're going to save it as a Photoshop file. You've already done that, but save it at the end so that it's a completely editable file. And when you're completely done, you will make sure that you change the format to a JPEG and save that. And you will also, on this one, because I'm going to print them, you are going to need to close your file in Photoshop, find Poland, drop, and turn in your PSD.